Hey, what's up, guys? And welcome back for another one of our lovely 1908 games. The White Sox are 2 games out of first place with a 99 record. The Cleveland Naps are only 3 games out with a 7-9 record. I've been talking about this a lot here, but there's a lot of parity so far in the American League. Every team really is still in it, and that's one of the reasons why this replay has been going slow, because I like to record these games. So here for the Naps taking on the White Sox, we have Josh Clark, who's going to lead things off, and he rolls a 61 for a 40. It's going to be a foul ball. Yeah, this team, normally, if you look at this on paper, you think, oh, this is the big matchup of the 1908 American League season. Not so much so far in this replay. Clark rolls a 45 for a 14 and takes his base on a walk. Frank Owen starting here for the White Sox, 9 walks, 10 walks, 9 strikeouts so far this season, 25 innings pitched, 1.44 ERA, but of course it doesn't mean much because we are in 1908. Here is Joey. Napoleon rolls 54 for a 45. That's a little fly ball over to right field. Hahn has that for the out, 1 away, and it's George Stovall. Stovall hitting 250, 304 on base percentage, 266 slugging percentage, and he rolls an 11 for a 0. And the next roll is going to be a 25 for a 6. That's a double, which will send Clark to third, and that'll bring up Jay Clark, who is the catcher, next hitter up in the lineup. And the question is, do you play the infield in or not? Clark hitting only 200. He has driven in only 2 batters so far in 43 plate appearances. We'll see what happens here. I think that the White Sox will just go ahead and pitch to him. He rolls a 61 for 36. It's changed to 38. That's going to be a strikeout. Catcher drops the third strike, and he ends up being thrown out of first base. Catcher to the first baseman Donahue. Both runners hold. Because Josh Clark, that is, does not have that F. 2 away now, and it's going to bring up Bill Bradley here for the Naps, and let's see what he's able to do. So Bradley up there now, and his roll is an 11 for a 0, and that ought to score a couple here. His next roll is a 43 for a 6. That's a double to right field. That'll clear the bases. 2-0 now Naps, and this is what happens with that parity. George Paring comes up next with the runner on at second base. A little tough luck there for Frank Owen. Paring rolls a 42 for a 32, fly ball over to right field. Hahn has it for the out, and we go to the bottom of the first. Patsy Doherty will lead this off for the White Sox up against Bob Rhodes. Bob Rhodes, who's 2 and 2, with a 4.5 ERA, 14 strikeouts, 15 walks in his 34 innings pitched. And hitters are hitting 267 clip off of him. Doherty rolls a 64 for a 40. It's changed to 36. That'll just be a ball. His next roll is a 55 for a 9, and that's going to be a single, but the little C means he's thrown out stealing right afterwards. That'll bring up George Davis. George up there rolls a 24 for a 13, and that's a strikeout, 2 away. Here now, Fielder Jones. Fielder Jones up against Bob Rhodes, and he rolls a 44 for an 8. That's going to be a ground ball over to the shortstop. Paring has that play and throws to first for the out. We go to the top of the second. It'll be Joe Birmingham leading this off for Cleveland, and Birmingham rolls a 65 for a 35. It's a little pop-up over to the third baseman. Tannehill has it, 1 away. Bill Hinchman now comes up. He rolls a 16 for a 26. That'll be a ground ball over to Davis, the second baseman, who throws to first for the out. 2 gone, and it's Bob Rhodes. They drop the dice all over the place. The pitcher up there now rolls a 61 for a 13 and strikes out, and so we go to the bottom of the second. And Frank Owens calmed down a little bit. Jiggs Donahue now up there against Bob Rhodes. Donahue hitting 206. That's what everybody's hitting here in 1908 so far. Rolls a 13 for a 37, changed to 36. But, man, if you have a 30-something on 13, then you deserve what you get. That'll be 1 ball to count on him, and he rolls a 53 now for a 20, and that's going to be a ground ball over to LaJoey, the second baseman, who makes a play, throws to first for the out, 1 away, and it's Ed Hahn. Hahn now rolls a 21 for a 30, a little fly ball over to left field, and it's going to be Josh Clark there, who grabs that for the out, 2 away, and Billy Sullivan, the catcher up there. And he rolls a 46 for a 27. That's a little ground ball down to Bradley, a third, makes the play and throws to first for the out. And just like that, we're up in the top of the third inning. Josh Clark up there again. Rolls a 31 for a 9. This little pop fly over to the third baseman Tannehill for the first out, 1 away. And here is LaJoey again, hitting only 229. Very, very disappointing so far this season. And his roll is a 61 for a 13, and he strikes out, and his slump continues. 2 away now for George Stovall. And George rolls at 12 for a 24. That's going to be a ground ball to the shortstop. Atz has that and throws over to first base for the out. We go to the bottom of the third, and it's Lee Tannehill up there for the White Sox. Tannehill, one of those players I know from playing with 1908 back in the days, and he rolls a 35 for a 13 and strikes out. One away. Jake Atz now that shortstop, and Atz is probably not who we should be starting. The White Sox side is at short, but I've kind of been forced into it if I remember right. Rolls a 64 for a 13 and strikes out 2 away, and that's strikeout number 3 so far for Bob Rhodes. Here now Frank Owen, the pitcher. And he rolls a 63 for a 13. That'll be strikeout number 4 for Rhodes. And we go to the top of the 4th. And it is Jay Clark, the catcher, up there again. Clark rolls a 51 for a 9. That's a little pop fly over to the third baseman. Tannehill's got it for 1 for the first out. And that'll bring up Bill Bradley. Bradley hitting under that Mendoza line, 196. And he rolls a 43 for a 29. That's a little comebacker to Frank Owen, who throws to first for the out 2 away. George Perring's way under the Mendoza line. In fact, I'm not sure what to call the Mendoza line in 1908. It's almost average. Perring rolls a 61 for a 32 as a fly ball over to right field, and Hahn has it. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Patsy Doherty comes up. Doherty rolls a 14 for a 43, and we do have a little E number to worry about. The rolls a 56 is out of the range. It's a little pop fly over to left field, and it's Josh Clark who's got it for the out. 1 away. Is George Davis now. Davis rolls a 52 for a 27. That's a ground ball over to the third baseman. Tannehill has that and throws over to first. I'm sorry, third baseman Bradley has that, throws to first for the out. 2 away. Looked at the wrong team. 2 gone. Here's the fielder Jones for the White Sox. And he rolls a 51 for a 9. That's going to be a single over short, hit number 2 for the White Sox, only the 4th hit of the ball game. That'll bring up, of course, Jigs Donahue. We always check and make sure. And, yeah, of course, Jones does have that 11, so we will try the hit and run. And it's a good time to try it. The roll's a 15 for an 11. That's going to be a single, sends Jones to third, and then Donahue will steal second base. The runner's now in second and third, 2 out, bottom of the 4th, and it's Ed Hahn who's trying to try to get the White Sox back in this ball game. And he rolls a 54 for a 45. It's a fly ball over to right field. Hinchman's got that for the out. Just like that, we go up to the top of the 5th inning, and it's Joe Birmingham to lead it off. Joe rolls a 13 for a 22, changed to an 18. That's going to be an error, as usual. That's an error on Atz, the shortstop. And, yeah, we could probably use a better shortstop here, the White Sox could, that is. And that'll bring up Bill Hinchman, and now we have a choice to make. We are going to bun with Hinchman. I mean, he's hitting 129. Wow. The roll is a 31 for a 14, and that ends up actually being a walk. So Frank Owen gives up the walk despite Hinchman up there trying to bunt, and that brings up Bob Rhodes, who also will attempt to sacrifice. And the roll is 24 for a 13. That's a foul strike. With Rhodes, you're either striking out or I don't know what else you're doing. Next one's a 41 for a 28. That's a good bunt down to the left side, and it's going to be third baseman Tannehill who grabs that, throws over to first for the out. Both runners move up. 1 out now for Josh Clark, and Cleveland is looking to score once again. Knapp's being out-hit by the White Sox 3-2, but have the 2 runs on the board. And let's see what Josh can do. His roll is a 36 for a 33. There is a little E-roll. This might save him. No, it's a 66. We wasted one. That's a little pop-up over to Tannehill, the third baseman, for the second out. And that brings up the big man. Napoleon is looking to do something to wake up. His bat's about as cold as it can be. I figure it's pretty cold probably early May 1908, so that might be what's going on. And we give him a little bit of an extra shake, and the roll is a 36 for a 14, and so he's able to reach first on the base on balls. That'll bring up George Stovall, who's hitting a little bit closer to normal. Let's see what Stovall can do. And his roll is a 24 for a 13. That's a strikeout, and that's strikeout number 4 that Owen has collected. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. It's still 2-0 Naps. Here is Billy Sullivan. Sullivan rolls a 43 for a 29. Come back over to Rhodes. He stabs it and throws over to first for the out. 1 away. Lee Tannehill up there now rolls a 61 for a 32. That's going to be a fly ball over to Hinchman in right field, and he's got that one for the out. 2 gone, and it's Jake Atz. Jake Atz rolls a 43 for a 29. That's another comebacker over to the pitcher, and Rhodes throws over to first for the out. And just like that, we're at the top of the 6th inning. It's going to be Jay Clark up there again, the catcher for the Naps. Also, under that Mendoza line, hitting 190. That's why Cleveland hasn't been playing so well, and he rolls a 15 for a 10. So he does get his base hit. That'll help that average a little bit, and that brings up Bill Bradley, runner on at first base. No real need here to bunt until we get to that bottom of the order. I know Bradley hitting 193, but still, humor him a little bit, and he rolls a 24 for 13 and strikes out. That's 5 strikeouts from Frank Owen today. Frank having a pretty good game out there, I would say, all things considered. He just had a little bit of poor luck in that first inning. George Perring now, and he rolls a 14 for a 43. Little fly ball, technically to left field, unless this is within the range, and it's not. That'll be a fly ball over to the left fielder Doherty, who has that for the out, 2 away. That brings up Joe Birmingham now. Joe, not hitting too bad, a little bit of slugging, but the average is all right. And he rolls, that is a 44. I have to look again for an 8. It's a single that sends Jay Clark over to, was going to send Clark over to third base, but he ends up being thrown out, actually. Good throw by Jones, the center fielder, over to Tannehill to get the lead runner. And we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. So it's still a 2-0 game in favor of Cleveland, and this has been pretty tight. Frank Owen up there now, and his roll is a 16 for a 28. That's a ground ball over to Perring, shortstop, who grabs it, throws to first for the out, 1 away. Patsy Doherty it is now, and he rolls a 12 for a 25. And there is that little E-roll. 55 is out of the range. It's going to be a ground ball over to the second baseman. That'll be Napoleon, who grabs that, throws to first for the out, 2 away. George Davis up there now. Davis so far today 0 for 2, just like just about everybody in these teams. He rolls a 15 for an 11, so he gets his base hit and then a stolen base after that. And here come the White Sox. Those hitless wonders might be able to do it. Fielder Jones now rolls a 52 for a 27, and that's going to be a little ground ball over to Bradley. The third baseman has that, throws over to first for the out. And just like that, we're at the top of the 7th inning. These games are fun because they're fast. You think this is fast, you should see what it's like when I play without being on camera. Bill Hinchman up there rolls a 52 for a 27. That's a ground ball again over to third base. Tannehill's got it, throws to first for the out, 1 away. That'll bring up, of course, Bob Rhodes, the pitcher, pitching a pretty good game, shutout so far, and he will stay in. Rolls a 53 for 21. That's changed to 17, which means it's a fly ball over to Hahn in right field for the second out, 2 away, and it's Josh Clark again. Clark 0 for 2 today, but did get that walk in the first inning, scored 1 of the 2 Cleveland runs, and he rolls a 14 for a 43. A little fly ball over to left field. Doherty has it for the out. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th inning, and it's Jiggs Donahue up there. Jiggs rolls a 14 for a 43. And there is a little E-rolls, a 53 out of the range. Just a little pop-up over to Clark, the left fielder, for the first out, 1 away. And it's Ed Hahn now. Ed Hahn comes up, rolls a 44 for an 8, and that'll be a base hit for Hahn, and that'll bring up Billy Sullivan. Hahn does not have that 11. That's the question that we asked. Sullivan hitting 128. We need to figure out what to do here with this catcher spot in the White Sox lineup. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. So Sullivan going to bunt. And here comes the bunt. It's a 64 for a 29, and that means that's a little bunt over to the right side. Stovall grabs that, throws over to Perring, covering at second for the out, so they get the lead runner. That's a mistake by Sullivan, 2 away, and his lead Tannehill now. Billy Sullivan, pretty fast for a catcher, but never can get on base. And the roll from Tannehill is a 42 for a 13. That's strikeout number 5 for Rhodes, and we go to the top of the 8th inning. Here is Napoleon once again, 0 for 2 today. He's been 0 for everything this season. And he rolls a 12 for a 24. There is a little E-roll. It's a 32, so it's out of the range. This ends up being a ground ball over to the shortstop Atz, who grabs that, throws over to first for the out, 1 away. I tell you, those slumps can last a while. The Cleveland team has played, this will be game number 17, so almost up to 20 games so far. And Napoleon can't hit. Here's George Stovall, rolls a 51 for an 8. And he shows him how to do it, and he gets another base hit. That'll bring up Jay Clark. Clark with a runner on at first base and only 1 out. And we'll go ahead and have him swing away. There's not much reason to do much else here for the Cleveland Naps, since they are ahead by 2 runs. Clark rolls a 56 for 34, and here's the little E-roll, 31, which is out of the range. That's a little pop-up over to the shortstop Atz, who grabs it for the out, 2 away, and it's Bill Bradley. Yep, we'll roll that one again, as I was out of the box, and Bradley rolls an 11 for a 0. Second roll for him in the second column is going to be a 14 for a 6, and that's going to be a double, and that will score the runner, and so it's 3-0 now, Cleveland, and that brings up George Perring. So again, the hard luck for Owen continues, and Perring rolls a 46 for a 29, another ground ball, this time over to Donahue, the first baseman, who hits Owen covering. And we go down to the bottom of the 8th inning. Is Jake Atz up there, followed by the pitcher, who I think we're going to lift. Atz rolls a 35 for a 42, and he's hit by that pitch. And so there might be something going on here. We're going to put in a pinch hitter here for Frank Owen. And we always just take a real quick look at this. It's going to be John Anderson. It probably would be no matter what. We always want to check and see, and he does have an 11. See, he's fast, and he has the ability to steal. So we do hit and run with the pinch hitter up there, and the roll's a 46 for a 29, and that is a good pinch hit ground ball over to Rhodes. A good hit and run ground ball, I should say, and Rhodes has to go to first with it. Atz is able to make second. 1 out, runner on second base. 3-run lead for Cleveland, bottom of the 8th inning, and it's Patsy Doherty. He rolls a 64 for a 40, and that's going to be a fly ball over to right field, and Hinchman has that one for the out. Atz tags up and then advances to third base. So 2 away now, and here's George Davis. Davis rolls a 45 for a 14, and he will walk, and that'll bring up Fielder Jones. Only the first walk given up so far by Rhodes. What a contrast to 1949. Fielder Jones now rolls a 23 for a 32. That's a fly ball up there to the right fielder Hinchman, who has that for the out. And we will go to the top of the 9th inning. Now the question is, who comes in as a relief pitcher? I'm always looking at these game started totals, so I hope that I don't tread on my own feet. It's probably going to be Moxie Manuel, who I think I've put in before for the White Sox. So Moxie comes in to face Joe Birmingham, top of the 9th inning. Birmingham rolls a 44 for an 8, and that's going to be a ground ball over to Atz at shortstop, who makes the play and throws to first for the out, 1 away, and it's Bill Hinchman. Hinchman rolls a 52 for a 27. That's a ground ball over to Tannehill. Third baseman has it, throws to first for the out, 2 gone, and that'll bring up Bob Rhodes, who's staying in this game, throwing a shutout. Rhodes rolls a 35 for a 36. That's changed to 39. That'll be a strike. I'm sorry, that'll be a walk. He takes his base on the walk because of the W from Moxie Manuel. I forgot about that. That'll bring up Josh Clark. So White Sox are inflicting damage upon themselves once again. And Clark rolls a 34 for 44, and here comes the little lead number. 64 is way out of the range. It's a little fly ball over to center field, and Jones has it for the out, and we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. So fasten your seatbelts because you never know what's going to happen, and these are always fun. Donahue will be the first batter. Donahue, Hahn, and Sullivan. Jiggs Donahue 1 for 3 today, 212 average, 278 on base percentage. He rolls a 61 for a 13. He goes down on strikes. 1 away. Strikeout number 6 for Bob Rose. That'll bring up Ed Hahn. Hahn 1 for 3 today, again with the 1 single, similar to Donahue, hitting 215, also similar. He rolls a 64 for a 13 and strikes out. Same result. Strikeout number 7 for Rhodes. And that'll bring up Billy Sullivan, who's 0 for 3. Sullivan hitting 125. Do we really want this guy to hit? I'm going to take a quick look here and just see. I mean, do we have anybody? I keep saying we. We're going to put Art Weaver in here as the pinch hitter. I say we, I'm controlling both teams. I know that some of you complained about that because how can you control both teams, blah, blah, blah. You can do it. It's not that hard. It depends upon what the game allows you to do or doesn't allow you to do. Art Weaver up there now, and his roll is a 54 for 45. That's a fly ball over to right field. Right fielder Hinchman has that for the out, and that will do it. And so a little bit under 20 minutes. I've been kind of slowing it down a little bit here for you. Cleveland will advance to 8 and 9. The White Sox go down to 9 and 10. And as predicted, these two teams are neck and neck, but they're neck and neck in the middle of the pack. And we're going to see a lot more of them until somebody finally takes control in the American League. Final score 3-0. Pretty quiet game and not quite a few errors either. And that was a really good pitching performance by Bob Rhodes. 7 strikeouts, gave up only 5 hits, and really kept the White Sox at bay. And I hope you really enjoyed this one. I sure did. And we'll see you tomorrow with another game. Bye-bye.